And we're off. Nice, a full heart to start off in Link's house. A little bit of extra health is always a nice thing to have.
Looks like Dude's heading up towards Uncle and Escape. Our gladiators are both ready to get this one going, as Lewd has picked up a bomb upgrade out of the Sanctuary chest.
So this is interesting. So Dude's starting off with the Uncle check, and there's a map check. So we have a crystal at Hera and 2 pendants for the other Light World dungeons.
Actually, a correction on that. Desert Palace is actually a number 5, so that's actually really important for them.
Okay, that's my bad. I think I saw the red and then assumed it was a red pendant then. It's interesting to see a little bit of divergence already with the Dude starting in Link's house and Lewd in Sanctuary, considering they kind of took the same route for the first like 40 minutes yesterday. And we have a sword on Dude's side.
Just a full heart container on Agony trees. That means we probably won't see an Agahnim this scene. How unfortunate. So, Dude heading into Hyrule Castle basement as Lewd is actually heading into the forest to go check those couple item locations.
Yeah, it makes sense to put that sword to use that Dude just found and finish up all of Hyrule. Or Hyrule Castle, rather.
So the critter looks like they're just dropping no bombs, actually. That's super useful.
We have a red rupee for the mushroom. Lewd offs to pick that up. It's a good call to play a little safe. He's going to be looking for 100 rupees to buy the bottle merchant item. So might as well pick that up. And another 50 rupees in the Thieves' Hut. That pretty much guarantees, as long as he picks up the guaranteed blue rupees under the pots in Kakariko and such, that he'll be able to buy that bottle merchant item.
Dude getting another bomb drop and escape definitely going to help them out some more as we get a burrito out of that chest. Also, that means the basement of the dark room might actually have something useful this time. Lewd gonna make the standard play here and go into Blind's Hut and just make the Kakariko loop. So to answer the chat, this is definitely an open randomizer tournament. The standard was back in spring, honestly, and that was the big kickoff to the community here as we get the Quake medallion out of the basement.
And then a mirror on Dude's side from Zelda Cell. Thinking on a seat, quickly switches to it and uses it. And now he's going to head and check out that dark sewer room chest. He doesn't have a light source, so this is technically a sequence break. But since he did pick up that sword, he can hold it out and use the sparkles from the sword charge to kind of navigate through these dark rooms here pretty easily.
Here we go again with the sequence breaking. Lewd picking up the items inside the well. We have a big whopping 5 chests right here. The flippers in the second one.
Alright, so this will not be a flipperous seed for sure.
Sadly, not a repeat of yesterday.
We got save and quits on Dude's side. Looked like he accidentally went into Link's house there, wanted to go to Sanctuary, picking up that bomb upgrade, and he will be heading to Kakariko, following on Lewd's heels.
Nothing interesting from the bottle vendor as we're going to go into the chicken hut, but we're not going to see a chicken clip today where they go through the wall. That's also a good thing because it has the potential to soft lock your game. Just a piece of heart inside the bomb shack, though. We are going to go in the back of the tavern, and what do we have today?
Green rupee stealing the bartender's tip.
I would say how wooed, but it's more like how lewd.
We have Lewd heading in the library, finding a piece of heart. I'm gonna check this race game item. Just like yesterday, opting to just go straight into the race. So, assuming the race game item is something you want, this is obviously the faster route. If it's not anything important, it's actually faster to just jump down and check. And it's the Moon Pearl, so definitely a good call on Lewd's part to just gung-ho into the race game.
What a find right there. Dude heading into the rest of the woods. Not going to find much for the effort, but 50 rupees is always helpful.
Got a save and quit from Lewd as he heads down into the dam. Meanwhile, Dude is making his way into Kakariko. Gonna pick up all the items Lewd just picked up. And our first item in the dam is a bomb upgrade.
Nothing interesting right there. Dude going ahead and going to grab the Quake Medallion out of the bottom of Lion's Hut. Just a big 20 rupees right there. Blue's actually opting for it. That's really interesting of a strategy. Early game though, it's always a smart idea to grab money.
Yeah, it's always nice to have the money early on. But I don't necessarily know if like the 20 rupees is worth it. If it was like a 100 rupees or 300 maybe. But considering his next big purchase is potentially the Zora item, it's not gonna help that cause very much. But possibly he's maybe even thinking further down the line and looking at the 110 price tag into getting into Pod.
We have Cherry Kool-Aid out of the Light World Hype Cave, and a lot of money to cover up for Zora. That's actually really important. Now the question is, are they going to go destroy my house again?
We don't see a save and quit, so it looks that way. Lewd is making his way over the ice cave.
No, Lude, why?
The interesting thing here is with the early flippers, it's actually a little bit faster if you hop in that water if you don't have the boots and swim over. Very minor optimization though.
So time to get another 100 rupee bill in the mail right here as Lude's going to go in and raid my life savings once again.
And a red boomerang for his trouble.
That's fine, I didn't need a giant stick anyways. Dude going into the library and just seeing a piece of heart, nothing interesting in there, so the boots may not be required, you never know.
Yeah, it's kind of the double-edged sword of like finding a required item in like library or Agahnim's lumberjack cave. Part of it is like, dang it, I'm gonna have to come back here, but also, yay, boots! With the lumberjack item and the library both being like pieces of hearts, we might not even see boots this seed.
So something of interest as we get the hobo check is that Lude has not looked at what's on Lake Hylia Island. There was some pretty interesting stuff on there in the previous races. But Lude is going to go back and check, doing the smart thing early game while you have the fake flippers on. Actually, no, it's the real flippers this time. What a surprise.
He's sitting 26 rupees short, so he's gonna be hoping for some money and one of these two chests here.
Or possibly on the ledge to go back around again. We find the power glove inside Waterfall Cave. That's interesting.
That's gonna be very nice. That's gonna let him check the back of Escape, which Dude hasn't gotten to yet. And he's gonna go at least check this ledge item. He's 26 rupees short, so unless it's money or a required item, he's probably gonna save and quit. And we just have a fighter shield, and there's a save and quit.
That shield has many names, but yeah, fighter is definitely the base one. I've heard the Fisher Price Tonka truck. It's baby's first shield.
We got some Quake strats on Dude's side, turning those mold arms into slimes that are a little bit easier to deal with.
That is actually a really good thing because Lewd did not have a sword in that cave and had to resort to bomb strats, which is actually quite a bit slower unless you get really lucky. Looks like Lewd's going to check in with Sahasrarla, and we're probably going to get a green pendant check as well.
Dude jumping into the lake here, making his way up to Hobo. He'll get his red rupee. I imagine he'll loop down into the teleporter whirlpool to head up to Zora. Whether he takes the time to go visit Ice Cave or not will be seen.
So Green Pendant was Palace of Darkness as we find the second sword upgrade in the back of Sahasrarla's hut. So they each have a sword now, and then Lewd will probably get the Master one coming up in Escape. And actually, Lewd is going to make the check in the Eastern. There's 3 items in here, but without the bow, you cannot complete the dungeon. So we'll see if it actually requires it or not.
Yeah, no bow, but a guarantee of 2, possibly 3 items. And considering that Eastern is a pendant dungeon, he's probably not particularly looking to complete it. He's just looking for the items here. With that Moon Pearl, sorry, with that Moon Pearl in hand and the Power Glove, we're looking for another glove upgrade or the hammer to get that Dark World access.
It would be nice to not have to deal with Agahnim this seed, but hey, you never know.
Yeah, with the Agahnim item not being a required item, Agahnim's not going to be required unless it's for Dark World access at this point.
The big hidden key is in the, I believe it's map chest for Eastern Palace. That means we'll actually be able to see what's in the big chest really early and may not have to go to the long way around. Dude heading up into Waterfall Cave, probably going to pick up that Peggle Power Glove drop. It was such a great find right there, but going to be disappointed when they're still going to push for Zora as well.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting if that Zora item ends up being important.
With the mirror, at least you can map possibly a catfish check into Zora check and make it a little less painful to have to triple run back up here.
There's dudes spotting that shield. Going for the save and quit. Let's see. He opts to go to Sanctuary. He's gonna put that Power Glove to use and check those 3 items in the back that he didn't have the opportunity to check before.
So just a bowl of nachos on Lewd's side, as we're actually going to get another sequence break right here with the Dark Room access.
So he found a map earlier, but we haven't seen the small key in Escape yet, so there's only going to be 2 items on this wall.
There's triple bombs and the lamp. That's really convenient.
Oh, I guess we did see the small key earlier? I didn't notice. But yeah, the lamp opens up Eastern as a possibility, so that's no longer a sequence break for Dude's side, as well as Death Mountain. And with Tower of Hera being a crystal, rather, and then that mirror in hand, makes a lot of sense for Dude's side to head up and do Death Mountain and Tower of Hera.
The biggest thing of note right here is that we're actually going to have Dude with only the fighter sword going up to master Death Mountain, and only will be able to get a couple items from there since we lack the hook shot or the hammer to progress onto the east side of it.
And there's the Master Sword on Lude's side.
So, old man Gary, what do you have for us today?
Oh, the Dead Rock. So yesterday, Lude got kind of Dead Rock blocked himself, and now Dude suffers the pain that's the Dead Rock block.
Just the old man's life savings. How unfortunate. Won't be able to go and buy something to shield himself from all the boulders falling down.
Dude making his way up the Spectral Rock. There's a triple bomb on top and another sword upgrade inside the cave. So that will be Dude's Master Sword, which will alleviate his Moldarn boss fight a little bit.
So, Dude grabbing the third sword upgrade in our scene. This is getting really good really quick.
So I have a feeling Agahnim might be required for Dark World access. Given these sword upgrades, the lack of another glove upgrade or the hammer, and already finding the lantern to light up the Agahnim tower, I feel like the the seed is giving us very strong hints of Agahnim.
Which only the two items potentially in Hera to check. This is starting to run quite unfortunate for both of our runners.
Indeed. The only item locations really left to check between the two runners would be these two items in Hera and Desert Cave, I believe.
Sage Ag in this cave does sound about right, yes.
And there's our first Hera item. It's another 50 rupees. Dude decides he's rich enough for 501.
Lude picking up that wonderful lamp as Dude finds the big key, so basement may not be required here, having seen one of the two items already.
Now, Lude grabbing those items out of the back of Escape. Saving and quitting, I imagine he's going to head up to Death Mountain as well. Which will net him his Tempered Sword.
As we've seen in multiple races in the tournament, having the difference between Master and Tempered is all the difference in runs.
Yeah, it's a huge upgrade. So obviously, Fighter to Master Sword is a big upgrade, and it's actually might be the biggest sword upgrade in terms of being able to actually go from not completing the seed to being able to complete the seed. But from Master Sword to Tempered Sword is easily the biggest, most important damage upgrade in terms of time.
You are definitely right about that. Now we have a 50-50 chance that Moldarn is actually going to be having an item, or potentially nothing interesting. A few sword spins will take care of that troll dorm really quick and net us possibly the second item of the dungeon.
Yeah, dude making quick work of Moldorm there. So the interesting thing with the Master Sword on Moldorm is it actually doesn't do any additional damage to him with slashes. It does fighter sword damage. So it takes 6 normal slashes with the Master Sword to kill Moldorm. But the spin slashes do tempered damage. So 3 of those will make quick work of the worm.
Dude, finding that 5 rupee off Moldorm just checked straight out, nothing in the basement today, which is very good for our runners. Saves about a minute of time each.
Now, Lude picking up his tempered sword. Dude heading over to Eastern, where he will find his tempered sword, and I imagine he will head into the Eastern Palace, hoping to find either the hammer or glove upgrade to avoid that impending Agahnim fight.
Which, as we know, is definitely not the case, so Agahnim is definitely looming with the exception of the Sage Agahnis Cave in the Desert Palace area.
Yeah, both players also didn't check the Zora item, because neither had enough money when they went up there.
We
got a map check.
So Pod was the other pendant.
It looked like Pod and Thieves Sound. As I was saying, the Zora item is still on the table, as is Agahnis Cave. I'd be curious to see if either player checks both of those or one of those before opting to do Agahnim. Both of those are kind of slow to check, so either player might opt to kind of just go for Agahnim.
Chat curious on what the second red crystal was. It was a little bit fast of a map check, so if you see it, let us know.
I believe it's Thieves Sound. Pod was the green pendant, and I believe it's Thieves Sound was the red pendant.
We'll definitely get a double check when Dude heads in the Dark World first.
Got Lude heading up towards Moldorm, and Dude heading to the back of Eastern Palace, so both players kind of just treading the ground that the other player already covered. As I said, the big decision will be after this, whether they decide to check Zora and or Agahnos Cave. Either one is kind of slow to check, and while it really, really sucks to go do Agahnim and then later find out it wasn't required, it's also not great to put it off till it's the very last thing and wasting several minutes checking Zora and Agahnos Cave to find nothing.
In the back of some of these runners' minds, though, it's definitely a smart thing to exhaust as the last thing, but when you start to run low on item locations like that, you are correct. You are definitely gambling at that point.
Yeah, so we see on Lude's side that he saved and quit after killing Moldorm, picking up his first crystal, and went back to Link's house. So it looks like he's making his way up to Agahnim.
Yeah, Lude not interested in wasting any more time without the flute to fast travel, so Agahnim seems to be the right call here as far as time is concerned. Dude heading up towards the big old Tower of Destiny as well.
Yeah, I think given the knowledge that either player has, that this makes a lot of sense. Again, both of them have Agahnim's Cave and Zora on the table, but checking one takes a minute or two. Checking both of them is not going to be much faster than doing Aghanim's Tower. While Aghanim's Tower rather, is guaranteed access to Dark World. So it's kind of like the safe bet.
So Aghanim's Tower, you do need at least a level 1 sword and the cape or 2 sword upgrades in order to access this dungeon. There is 2 chests in here, but both of them are always only small keys unless this is key sanity, so...
Yeah, in which case they're always super important items in my experience. So yeah, we have Lude making his way up to, I believe it's the 5th floor?
Sounds about
Dude,
right.
not too far behind. About a 20-second time difference or so between the two. Once they finish Agahnim, they'll pop out on the pyramid, be able to check that item. Given the items that they have, without that hammer or hook shot, they're only going to have access to pod or catfish. So I imagine both players are going to head to pod.
Oh no, Zelda, we must save her. Wait, she's disappearing. No! Oh, dude taking the double I'm going to fall, you're going with me strategy. So the RNG for the Agahnim 1 fight has between 0 and 15 blue ball shots that are the ones that always trip you up. Now, the first shot after each cycle is always a regular tennis ball, if I remember right.
Yeah, the first shot is always a reflectable one. The next 3 could go either way. Either a blue ball or reflectable, and then the 5th shot in every cycle is the lightning.
Definitely get your pyramid guest checks in now. I wouldn't mind seeing boots up there.
Boots would definitely be nice. That would definitely make catfish a more desirable check. As you actually pointed out in chat, checking catfish and then mirroring to Zora wouldn't be a bad call. The only unfortunate thing is without boots, it's kind of a slow trip. Let's see what. Oh, we have a green potion. It's probably worth grabbing.
So a bottle of cherry Kool-Aid earlier and then lime Kool-Aid. It's definitely the smart strategy to collect them while you can, especially early game like this. Looks like Lude is taking the catfish play. That's not bad considering where we're at right now.
Yeah, especially with the mirror in hand and the money for Zora that Lude didn't check earlier. Makes a lot of sense.
There we go. The other red crystal was an ice palace.
And we have Dude heading over to Pod. Seeing a little more divergence compared to last game between these two racers. Catfish dropping 300 rupees. Lude mirroring over to the light world. He's gonna go deposit that directly to the Catfish's cousin Zora.
The infamous Bank of Zora, which has a notoriously low interest rate.
I see someone pointing out the bowless, hammerless Pod. In my personal opinion, I don't think doing Pod... I actually like kind of doing Pod without the bow. It sounds kind of silly, but the nice thing about not having the bow is if it's not a small key in that first chest, you already know you're looking in the wrong place. Not having the hammer is somewhat annoying. Speaking of the hammer...
Oh my goodness.
There's the hammer at Zora! That means Agahnim was completely not required. And we see some bombs on Lude's side, throwing them into Zora's home.
Oh my, that got the chat going. So, Dude is definitely losing time on this one, but you can still find some items in here that may be able to catch you back up.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to think, because Lude... I have a feeling a huge part of those bombs of frustration were because you realize that he did Agahnim when it wasn't required. And generally, when you do something like that, when you go spend the 5 minutes to kill Agahnim, and then you find out it's required, the first thought in your mind is, "Oh my god, I'm behind." So this could definitely be a factor in how he plays from here.
I think when both of them come back and look at this seed and realize they were only 20 rupees away, oh, there's the boots in the pod.
The boots! Oh my god. The value. So, as you mentioned, Dude losing a bit of time going to Pod without the hammer. But with Pod not being required, he's not necessarily looking to complete this dungeon, he's just looking for items. Those boots will definitely speed things up a bit. Lude finding that hammer means if boots are required, who knows when he'll find them.
Yeah, definitely. When they come back and look at this and they see they were only like 20 rupees away from not having to do Agahnim, I think most of them are going to be pretty salty.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's true. They were both like at like 480 rupees or so.
There's the flute and Pod.
So Pod not being strictly required for crystals, 100% required to find at least the flute and possibly the boots. That's definitely going to speed things up on Dude's end. So again, in a way, doing an unnecessary and the cape. Pod just having all of the goods in the seed.
This is a beautiful Palace of Darkness.
For sure. So, yeah, again, the unrequired Aga, not necessarily the best thing, but it, in a way, definitely led Dude to doing Pod right now. And might pay off, considering how much value Pod has had. And the cane! Holy crap! Like, every item in Pod has been amazing.
We have one half of the infamous Team Heck Yes campaign right here. Now, I think Dude will definitely decide to make the Catfish Zora play, and with the flute, that's actually going to save a little bit of time depending on how it's routed.
Yeah, considering he didn't mirror, he didn't save and quit, or anything after that, after Pod, he's definitely going to go check Catfish. And it only makes sense to go to Zora from there. So that's gonna be huge.
So this seed is definitely a lot more even though it does look like Lude is a little bit ahead on everything.
We have a shovel in Skullwoods.
Speaking of silly wrestling puns, can you dig it, sucker? Lewd, unfortunately, taking a
Ooh.
nosedive right outside Skull Woods. Has to take the long way back.
Yeah, that's not... Don't think that was intentional, but who knows? Maybe he decides to go to Pod from here or South Dark World with that hammer in hand.
Yeah, making the decision to go to Pod, yeah, it probably was intentional at that point.
Nice, yeah. With that hammer in hand, he's gonna go to Pod. So he's gonna find his boots, his cane, his cape. Which is a great decision on his part. Missing those items could be very detrimental.
Lewd probably going to be kicking themselves again once they see the flute in here as well.
And there's dude paying off Zora, getting his hammer. I know I mentioned this when Lewd found his hammer, but he might be thinking he's a little bit behind at this point too. Like I said, whenever you find out you did Agahnim when it wasn't required, it's kind of your first thought.
So it looks like Dude is actually going to take the South Dark World loop and potentially grab Hype Cave for some big 5-item action, and definitely probably heading over to Kakariko after that with the flute in mind. Only missing the shovel to do a full cycle.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. He's got the 5... ooh, there's Ice Rod. Hype Cave offering up the Ice Rod and a save and quit from Dude. I almost think he kind of just did that almost by accident, because he saved and quit. He started in Link's house, and then as soon as he was there, he kind of opened up the save and quit menu. Kind of made me think it was a mistake, and then he kind of rolled with it and was like, well, I'm here, I might as well go check Hype Cave.
Dude making the play to go over to Kakariko. Oh, no, checking ball cards first. Nothing interesting in there, just a piece of heart. Lewd heading through Palace of Darkness, gonna pay off pretty big for this one, but having the hammer, we can actually get some further progression maybe. Time to rise for your favorite national anthem. Oh, Swagaduck, our lovely native bird.
That flute and those boots are going to give him really quick access to just about everywhere on the map. Riding this in with Sick Kid. It's a great call here. Sick Kid thanking Dude for visiting with a nice 300 rupee.
That is the most generous Sick Kid I've seen in a long time.
We have Dude heading into the Dark World over by Kakariko here. Imagine he'll go check out Skullwoods that Lewd already kind of scoped out. Didn't find much of value. But generally speaking, Skullwoods is such an easy and quick check that you can do early on that it just makes sense to do it kind of like the first thing when you have Dark World access.
Especially since you don't really feel guilty if you have to come back to it since it's such a short dungeon. You're definitely right about that. save quit back to Sanctuary for Lude. Probably gonna go activate that flute ASAP.
Yeah, I'll probably take a quick pit stop here at the Bonk Rocks, find his piece of heart, and then activate his flute. And then he'll probably cover the Dark World as well. I don't think because he did Skullwoods already, but I don't think he did anything in Village of Outcasts. So there's still those 3 items. With the boots and mirror in hand, he could make a play onto the Graveyard, Ledge Cave, and King's Tomb. There's also still the Dig Game, Hype Cave, and Stumpy at play, as well as just Pendant Thieves Town. There's quite a few options available.
The Samaria strats for Skullwood's making things nice and easy for both of them. Finding that big shovel right there, choosing the mirror back instead of going around the other way, it's definitely a smarter play.
Yeah, and the nice thing for Dude is he checked Hype Cave, but he didn't go talk to Stumpy. He didn't do the ledge, like the Ledge Cave south of the Grove. So you can now route all of that together with the shovel.
Dude choosing to go check Bumper Cave while we're up here. Just 20 rupees, but definitely a good use of time and routing. That way you don't have to worry about swinging back again unless you're going straight to Graveyard. Speaking of... Also getting a King's Tomb check, which has the potential to be really interesting. We've seen Bowen here a couple times, and I know I've pulled it from King's Tomb at least once.
Yeah, there's definitely a prospect for interesting items here. My favorite would be it's a red potion. My favorite would be a glove upgrade. So that's a tricky item to grab.
Another lovely bottle of Cherry Kool-Aid. Lude heading up and following the same path by looks of it.
Yeah, that red potion, while not particularly helpful in terms of progression, these runners are only sitting at 7 hearts in green mail. 43 minutes into Seed, starting to explore the Dark World. The red potion could definitely come in handy. Ask him that. The Cane of Burno will help them with their survivability a little bit.
The tag team is now complete with our Daniel Bryan cane right here.
We have Dude back over in Kakariko. Gonna head over into the Dark World. Definitely gonna check out these Village of Outcasts locations. And then from there, he could either pop over into Thieves Town, which unfortunately is a pendant, but still holds 4 items. Or you could head south and do the digging game, check in with Old Stumpy, do the shovel, and the ledge cave for another 4 items.
So just a total of 6 items inside the town and dungeon itself. There's definitely a lot more value around there too, as you were saying. They're definitely banking on East Death Mountain now, which is an interesting call.
Yeah, that combination of the mirror and hammer will let him get over to the east side to find 8 treasure chests. And then a 9th one in Spike Cave if he opts to head through there. Though with his low health, I guess he did pick up the Cannon Burner, so he could do that as well.
Small key in that second chest for Dude.
It's a big 20 on the floating island.
Both runners having done Agahnim, they are probably both feeling like they're behind, so they're making different gambles, and one of them could pay off potentially big. There's the big key. Now, without the Titan's meds, you can't exactly access the other few chests that are in Hookshot Cave and Dark Death Mountain, but 7 up here, plus the one in Spiral Cave, which turned out to be nothing, it's still a good play here. There's a lot of value to it, potentially.
Yeah, it definitely lets you check a large quantity of items really quickly. With this logic's tendency to place items in dungeons, though, Dude might be making a better call. Of course, time will tell. We will know in just a moment here, after Lewd checks these 5 chests here.
And Paradox Cave completely shutting down with nothing of value whatsoever. Unfortunate.
Yeah, just like a heart and some money. Definitely not what he's looking to find.
Surprised Lewd is actually sticking around up here after seeing all of that mess. Chooses to float out instead.
Yeah, heading to Link's house. Gonna take the portal to the Dark World from here. He hasn't checked this Hype Cave yet, so he's gonna grab his Ice Rod over here. And then he might opt to do, like, Stumpy Dig Game, all the South Dark World item locations. Unfortunately, without that Titan's Mitts, he won't be able to work his way up to Village of Outcasts, though.
Just a big set of bombs for the blind hut, or cell right there.
He picked 20.
Too.
Yeah, nothing in Thieves Town, so... Okay, so Lewd's making his way into Slump Palace. I was curious if he was going to make this play. As pointed out, he might have felt a little behind, particularly doing that unrequired Ega, and so that might have been why he went to East Death Mountain. And that didn't pay out, so if he made that East Death Mountain play feeling behind, and then that didn't pay out, he probably feels even further behind. So this Swamp Palace play could make sense if he's feeling a little bit behind.
Now, in order to finish this, since this is a regular crystal dungeon, we will definitely need the hook shots, so this is going to be potentially a forced double dip right here.
Yeah, unless the hook shot is in this dungeon, he's going to have to come back. And then Blind giving a heart for a dude. So, Thieves Town, not offering up much of anything.
Fortunately, it's not a huge time loss since it's one of the faster dungeons to complete.
So that does mean either Swamp Palace or the few South Dark World locations, such as Stumpy or the cave south of him, or a Dig Game, is probably the solution. There's also Agahnim's Cave that neither player has checked. There's the Fire Rod. Is going to open up the back of Skull Woods for Dude, and it looks like he's heading straight there.
Actually, a really interesting play right there, but since it is a required dungeon, it's definitely a smart play just to get it out of the way really quick.
Yeah, it's a about as convenient as it's gonna get. Is just might as well head up there now. Already checked it out earlier. I can't remember if he found both items or not. I know we saw one.
Pretty much regardless of the mode that you're playing in, that bottom right corner of Skullwoods will always have a small key in that chest in order to prevent soft locking.
Yeah, that's the one item, or the one item location that's always a small key. Even in Key Sanity, it's a guaranteed small key since you can drop straight into that room, and if you don't get a small key, it forces a save and quit.
They're getting ready to check the 2 chests there on the left side. Dude potentially skipping the small chest that's right there at the front could potentially save some time since there's only one more item in this dungeon, as I recall.
Yeah, we found the shovel at the Vanilla Big Key location, which I don't believe either player's checked yet, actually. But as you mentioned, that means there's only one more item here. So the smart move is to kill Mothula first, since that's going to be required either way. And if you get your item, you're good. Otherwise, you go check that other small chest. And half magic on Lewd's side. For left side swamp. And this is why left side swamp is extra terrible when you don't have hook shot. It requires 2 trips to do these 2 chests here.
Chad pointing out it's very true. You can't really drown the key without the hook shot because you can't potentially get into that room unless you find a small key before it.
And bombs for the other left side item. Unfortunate for Lewd, he's gonna head out. Probably check these other South Dark World locations. Hoping to find something of value. Meanwhile, Dude, finish off Mothula, get in the map. So he's gonna have to head back in and check this small chest, which should be the remaining item.
I'm seeing an empty bottle here. I'm guessing it's a little bit difficult in the Mothula fight. Ooh, just the bloomerang. Not much there either.
And palms for the shovel item. So it's looking like this dig game or cave down here that Lewd's gonna go check is... Or he's gonna go straight to the dig game.
Skipping Mirror Ledge when it's the best time to actually have that routed in. That could come back to bite Lewd later on. For the digging game, it's between 1 and 30 digs, I believe it is, so it has the potential to take up a lot of time, and you have to potentially have to restart if you're really slow on the digs.
Oh, and there we go, the mitts. The mitts were here the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
That is going to open up a ton of options for Lewd. And Dude is heading over to the dig game himself. Gonna grab those mitts. That's actually really bad for Lewd. Because Lewd checked a lot of stuff to no avail.
Lewd with a little bit of a backtrack right there, but still picking up nothing out of the Mirror Ledge.
That dip into Swamp Palace could cost Lewd a lot of time.
Time to check what's a Meyer medallion.
That was a quick check. I didn't actually see what it was. Did you?
These runners check things so fast. It looked like Ether, but don't quote me on that one.
We've certain all saying it was Bombos. This little Mire Shed not giving anything for Lude. He's gonna mirror over, do Desert Palace. Oh, he's gonna grab this red mail. Extra defense is nice, and he's gonna pop over and do Desert Palace. Crystal, 2 items, why not?
Finding that other first shield, that's 2 of the 3 upgrades. Big key on the torch, so those boots were definitely required.
Dude getting a little love from the blacksmith. Or actually a whole lot of love, considering it was a full heart container. So gonna grab this purple chest. And walk it home. Checking... I imagine he's gonna check Old Stumpy and the cave on the way.
That was either the world's fastest hammer ping, or I did not see what was in there.
Yeah, dude checked the hammer pegs. I didn't see what it was, but he immediately noped out of there, so I imagine it wasn't anything of value.
Chat saying it was just money. Thanks for keeping up on that. Checking the next chest. Oh, it's the
And there's the third shield.
Lude gonna go ahead and charge the back really quick, as Dude is taking the lunchbox route.
This will net Lude his second crystal, and it will be one of the required crystals for the Pyramid Fairy.
Oh, the frustration setting in for that dig spot. Inside the lunchbox, just someone's heart. That's a little disturbing.
This is actually a pretty close race, considering Dude full cleared Thieves Town for nothing important. If Lude manages to avoid heading there himself, it'll definitely be to his advantage. Lude did take that early dip into the front half of Swamp Palace, though. So those two things more or less even out. Probably is a little bit more time on Dude's side to full clear Thieves Town.
Dude making a little bit slower of the check, definitely confirming it is Bombus for Meyer. Thank you for keeping us in mind, dude.
We have a checkerboard cave check from Dude. Lude hasn't been here yet. I imagine he'll head there right after he finishes off this Lando fight. Getting his bombs. And there's more bombs in the checkerboard cave.
All your bombs are belong to us as Dude heads back on over to the other side. Probably go ahead and finish off Desert as well. Now, routing Agahnim's cave would actually be the smart play right here. Now, in theory, I like Lude's routing a little bit more for this particular section, if indeed Agnes Cave is involved in it. Looks like it's not, though.
So yeah, as Zertinol is pointing out in chat, as of right now we need Hookshot and Bow, as well as Bombos for go mode. We have not seen the Turtle Rock medallion yet, so potentially Ether, though at this point it is less than likely. With Lude heading into Death Mountain right now, he's going to make his way up to Spike Cave, it looks like, and then possibly over to the east side to do the Dark World. We'll hopefully get that Turtle Rock knowledge soon.
choosing to ignore a spike cave, that's not a bad call considering all the resources you need in there. It's not potentially something interesting most of the time. Looks like you're going to see a Turtle Rock with the Super Bunny Cave and the first chest out of the Hookshot Cave in mind.
Yeah, hopefully for Lude's sake, it is not Quake to get into Turtle Rock. I don't necessarily know if he would be willing to go into Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod at this point. No, it is Quake though.
Oh no,
So we'll
Vanilla
see.
Quake.
I feel like it's a bold play to go in there without the Fire Rod. So it looks like he's just stepping it up for now.
Two items in the Super Bunny Cave check, which you don't need anything for. You can actually do this without the Moon Pearl even, but nothing here today.
Yep, just some chump change and a bomb upgrade. He's gonna head back out. He'll be able to check the one item in Hookshot Cave. It's the boots here. Accidentally picking up that pot. There's like a moment of hesitation of, what have I done? He's gonna have to just reset this room here.
Doing this without the hookshot is actually a lot harder than it looks. I've failed to do it in practice many a times. Just 20 rupees though, so not worth it on this run.
Yeah, the key to this is like you have to obviously bonk on the pots, and then you also need to hold the direction you're traveling in. So on that first one, you have to hold left after you bonk while you're in the air. You hold left, and then you hold down on the other one. Otherwise, you actually don't get enough distance. For some reason, holding a direction in the air moves you a little bit in that way.
Lude making the super gutsy, risky play into Turtle Rock.
Hopefully this isn't... Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, hopefully this is not a small key. Without a small key being in that chest, that means he's Fire Rod locked. Which is a useful bit of knowledge for Lude, considering we know that the Fire Rod is in Village Without Gas.
Very fortunate for Lude on that one.
Had that been a small key, it's actually possible to get all the way to the laser bridge, given the right item layout in Turtle Rock, which would be a huge waste of time.
So, due to the frustration slashes out of Agahnim Cave, choosing to go into Ice Palace instead. 3 items plus the potential 2 from Pyramid Fairy. This could be huge as well.
Yeah, we're still looking for that bow, that hookshot, and bombos to finish out the seed. Nice! Oh, okay, so we got silver arrows in the Spike Cave. It's not going to do anything for Lude just yet, but once he finds that bow, it will definitely save him a bit of time.
Silver's in Spike Cave. I don't think Dude's gonna check that.
Yeah, I was about to say, unless Dude gets desperate, that might be something he misses out on, which will definitely give Lude a decent advantage in the Ganon fight.
Lude finally getting into the Village of Outcasts for the first time. Now, this series, if you go back and watch the previous VODs, has been definitely a series of, oh gosh, why did this happen right after I checked it kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's what's gonna be going through Lude's head once he finds his fire rod in this bombable hut here.
Seems like a good time while we're just waiting on this fire rod here. If you like what you're seeing today, please go ahead and follow these runners. They're really amazing, and they've put together a fantastic series for you to go back and watch over the past couple days.
Yeah, they're both fantastic runners and fantastic streamers. So, oh man, this is kind of interesting. So Lude is heading up and doing Skullwoods, which makes a lot of sense considering he just found the fire rod. Unfortunately, he just kind of dipped into T-Rock without the fire rod, and thankfully he got kind of dead-ended really quickly. But it's very likely that... Oh, that was a nice bomb jump from Dude's side to get through that hookshot room. But as I was saying, it's very likely that the answer to the seed or the next progression item they're looking for is in Turtle Rock at this point. Considering that that both players have all the items required to do Turtle Rock. My guess would be that the hookshot is in there. Since on Dude's side, he did that nice fancy bomb jump, but that also means that since he didn't have that early small key, that these locations he's checking is kind of a sequence break. Because getting through that room requires the hook shot by logic.
Welcome back to the land of sequence breaks. Also a compliment going to that wonderful bomb jump, which I never knew you could do to skip that room. That is super interesting for everyone watching today.
Yeah, it's super useful if you are basically in Dude's situation. Oh, you never checked this. Okay, if this is a small key, oh, it's a big key. Say if that was a small key, then it wouldn't have been a sequence break. I actually don't know how to do that bomb jump in that hookshot room, but to my understanding, it's actually not that difficult.
Lude making incredibly nice work of that Mothula fight. Go back in and find nothing but disappointment though. Another big 20 out of the moon room chest. That's very unfortunate. So no books, so we're sadly not getting a pedestal check right now. Looks like Lude's gonna head into ice as well though.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting on Lude's side, especially since we interviewed him yesterday, and he himself said that Turtle Rock has all the answers. But it very well could be a factor of him feeling behind, especially with checking that first chest in Turtle Rock early and getting kind of fire rod locked out of it. That he doesn't feel like going back, but it's starting to shape up and looking like that Turtle Rock does have the answers for the seed.
A big hurt with red veil on. It's not something you generally want to see, even though you have less than 10. Dude has to be really careful here, low on life.
Yeah, it's important to note that in the vanilla game, you get blue mail in Ice Palace. So the enemies and the boss here do a lot of damage, even with blue mail. So he plays it safe, he pops that red potion. Might have been a good call to save it for later, but you lose more time from dying than anything else, generally speaking.
Considering Dude got hit after taking the potion, that was definitely the smartest of ideas right there to actually use it. So what's the next play after Ice Palace, I wonder?
It looks like he's heading up to Turtle Rock, which I think makes a lot of sense given what he has and what's available to him.
Now, little remembered fact about a lot of these runners, there is a red potion shop up here on the mountain on Light World side, just in case you need an emergency refill. And there's also a couple of fairies inside one of the caves as well from Turtle Rock. When you get to the laser bridge section, if you go south and bomb that door and then warp back to the Light World, you get 2 fairies in that. You can actually farm that in case you need it as well. So nothing of importance inside Ice Palace, but it was a necessary place since it was a crystal, so... Now it brings the Pyramid Fairy into possible check as well.
And Ice Palace generally has something if you have everything to do it, and you aren't in go mode. It's kind of like in that Turtle Rock status and Meyer status, where if you have everything to do it, and you're not in go mode, it generally has something. Not the case here. It's looking like it might be Turtle Rock, but it could be the Pyramid Fairy, as you pointed out, which is something that Dude opted not to check.
Yeah, both runners have both mail upgrades, so the defense is definitely there since we're not getting that 3rd shield. Did finding that life lesson inside Paradox Cave that you can't always get money with happiness.
Yeah, I actually had forgotten that Dude hadn't checked Paradox Cave yet, so it makes a lot of sense that he would make this Turtle Rock play, because that also has these 7, 8 locations on Light World Death Mountain, and another 2 or 3 in the Dark World associated with it. But as commentators, we've seen Lude already check these locations. We know that they're not going to be anything of value.
Dude, definitely hype that we only need Quake in order to access this dungeon. We are 1 medallion away from the town, though. Also, as well as the bow and the hookshot.
And yeah, given what we've seen as viewers, this Dude popping right in there, not even checking Hookshot Cave or Super Bounty Cave beforehand. Which makes a lot of sense. It's not very... He needs at least 3 items for go mode. And the odds of those 3 items being at the 3 locations that you can check outside of Turtle Rock are astronomically low.
Pedestal hype, but dying as well with it.
And given what we know as commentators, it's almost assuredly going to find the next progression item in Turtle Rock here. There's some slashes of frustration from Dude. When you don't have the hook shot this room becomes an entirely different beast to what you're used to. Normally, you hop on this platform you make and go up and light all these torches and then hook shot so you fall into the pit and do that.
Dude showing off the correct pattern in order to do this without the hook shot.
And speaking of hook shots, there it is.
Oh my goodness.
I was gonna say it's very likely we're gonna find the hook shot here, because that will give the runners access to the back of Swamp Palace. We already saw Lude check the front half of Swamp Palace, didn't find anything of import. But we have a few items guaranteed in the back. So it's very likely to find the hook shot, and then potentially the bow.
So this is either Value Rock or this is the Turtle of Values, depending on which one you like better. Lude getting the Cold Shoulder from Ice Palace chests on the way to Cold Stare eventually. Chooses to grab the mirror instead.
Yeah, I think he found all the items from Ice Palace there. Made an interesting call to rush Cold Stare. Which, if you find all the items early on in Ice Palace, isn't necessarily a bad play, because if Cold Stare holds the third item, you can just totally leave and kind of wash your hands of Ice Palace. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and Lude had to go back in looking for his last item. He found it, and now he's left, and he's going to be checking this Pyramid Fairy, which we haven't seen yet.
Lude gave an additional donation to the bomb vendor to help keep the rent afloat. So it looks like we're finally going to see what's over the Pyramid Fairy, which we know it's not hookshot, so it might be Bombos or Bow even.
Yeah, either one would be a nice find for Lude.
As we get a Mimic Cave check over on Dude's side. Mimic Cave holding nothing of value, and we find the other bottle.
Bottle number 4 and 50 rupees. While somewhat useful, it's not necessarily what Lude wanted to see. Pops out that flute.
There's the swag net over on Dude's side. Hooray! Item completion confirmed.
Heading to Death Mountain, Lude probably realizes that he kind of went into Turtle Rock just a little bit too early. With a strong suspicion that, like, Turtle Rock has been on his mind since he found that fire rod. And he was hoping that it didn't hold the solution. Unfortunately, it has at least a hook shot, potentially more items. We will find out here shortly once Dude gets to the laser bridge.
Just a few items behind, but we're not in go mode, so that's kind of a little bit irrelevant at the moment. They're still pretty close.
Yeah, they're actually very close. So Lude, it's about half of Turtle Rock behind right now. A little bit more, considering Dude is at the laser bridge. But given that Lude dipped into Swamp Palace and checked the front half of that and didn't find anything that worth his time, and doing that unnecessary Aga, he might feel further behind than he is.
There's the magic powder on Laser Bridge. Out of magic though, so we're gonna have to employ the safety strats for this particular bridge. There's the small key needed for Trinex. Let's see what's in this last chest.
It's the ether, which is not what we were looking for. So this siege is teasing at this point.
As a battle item, Ether's not too bad though. It's definitely faster than bomb houses.
Dude, about to head into the Trinex fight. Meanwhile, Lewd is leaving the first hub of Turtle Rock, picking up that hook shot in the right side double chest room.
Now, with Tempered Sword, the Trinex fight requires 5 slashes, so that's not too bad. At least I don't have to worry about switching the hammer as well.
Dude making quick work of the first phase of Trinex. A spin slash and 3 more slashes, taking out the second phase.
Absolutely beautiful Trinex fight, as we're gonna get just a piece of heart, but it was definitely a necessary clear, so it's not too bad.
Piece of heart and his 5th crystal. So I imagine the play on Dude's side from here is to go to Swamp Palace, which Lewd has already explored the front half. We didn't find anything of value, but the second half is completely unexplored and likely at this point to have something we need, either the bow or the Bombos medallion to get into Mire. Either way, Dude will leave Swamp with his 6th crystal in hand.
I think definitely the hookshot was the biggest takeaway from Value Rock today, though. So, Dude with a much better arsenal actually going into Swamp now.
Yep, and that biggest difference will be that hookshot from Turtle Rock. Meaning that he can clear out all of Swamp Palace in one trip. Whereas Lewd will eventually have to return for his double dip there.
Now, I'm leaning towards a no on this next question, but do you think that Dude will actually check Spike Cave for silvers out of desperation?
I am going to go with no. Unless if somehow the back half of Swamp doesn't have either Bombos or the bow, he might end up checking the Spike Cave looking for one of those. But it's looking very likely that he'll find at least one of those items. So that could be a factor later on, as that will definitely save Lewd about a minute or so on that final phase of Ganon.
As Dude grabs that lovely bug net out of the chest, continuing on to the back of Turtle Rock. That hookshot definitely paying off with that key right now. Now you have options.
Yeah, it's very likely that he'll skip out on the left side here. A lot of players opt to head into the back half, clear that out, kill Argus, and then decide if they want to go left side from there.
Personally, I feel that's definitely the smartest way of doing this. I have yet to put it into practice, though. That dude is making the play on the left side instead.
And there is also the fact that he doesn't have a whole lot of options at this point, so... And he did already find the map. He realizes that there's an item over there. Or two. It is also possible that he might just be doing this for a potential return trip. Some players will go through all of this and kind of raise the water here. That way if they come back in, it's already done.
Let's see how wonderful of a fight we have for Trinex on Lewd's side. In a much safer position with half magic, just making quick work of that left side.
Yeah, quick phase 1 on Lewd's side here. A really quick phase 2. He'll get his piece of heart and his 5th crystal, so we will be tied up in crystals with Swamp Palace and Mire.
Now, with how things are going right now, they have the potential to possibly see Bombus in the back right here, I would think, and then possibly Bell and Meyer.
We have Lewd heading over to check the Hookshot Cave. Checked that one chest earlier. Dude didn't come here and clear it out after finding that hookshot, so... If there's something of value here, there's the mushroom, which could or could not be important.
Hashtag don't eat the mushroom, but nothing else of value inside Hookshot Cave, so that was definitely a possible bust as well.
Yeah, I imagine Lewd will go turn into this mushroom immediately and then head to Swamp from there. If that mushroom is something, that's a very bad sign for Dude. Or I guess he's gonna head straight to Swamp. Oh, there's Bombos.
Nailed it.
Mire access. So this, we could have Bow in Ganon's Tower. It's gonna be the hunt for the bow at this point. So the bow is required to clear Eastern or Pod, but both of those are pendants, so they don't need to clear those dungeons yet. But it is also required to climb Ganon's Tower.
Dude taking the interesting option to actually go back and check the big chest immediately.
And he got a blue rupee for his trouble. And now we have Lewd entering Swamp Palace. He's already cleared the front half of this, so he's actually not that far behind. He's going to be able to just jet straight to the back.
They're pretty even now, honestly.
Yeah, this is a really close race. We can make a note of their time difference once they kill Argus, because they'll be pretty much neck and neck at that point. Dude will have that Bombos in hand, and Lewd will find it in a minute here, which will allow them to go to Mire, get their 7th crystal, and at that point it becomes a hunt for the bow. So as I mentioned, it's normally required for Pod or Eastern, but since both of those are pendants rather, it could be anywhere other than the top half of Ganon's Tower. Or obviously in the remaining pod or eastern chest as well.
Just a couple spins from Tempered Sword will shut down Argus and get possibly another idol? Oh, there's a full heart right there. But more importantly, the clear.
So here's what I'm hoping for. I am hoping for a book in Ganon's Tower leading to the bow.
That would be fascinating, honestly. Chat calling bow on pedestal or bow on GT big chest. Are either of those possible, Swerve?
Could be in the big chest. It clearly can't be in the pedestal since 2 of the pendants are bow locked. Nothing of importance could be on the pedestal at this point. Both of our runners are in go mode sans the bow. And the bow is required to climb Ganon's Tower. Which could be anywhere that isn't bow locked at this point. So it could be in Ganon's Tower, anywhere on the lower part of Ganon's Tower. And I think that's about it. Anywhere that hasn't been checked, but I think at this point we've seen all of Pod, all of Eastern, and all of Thieves Town that isn't bow locked.
Now there's just 2 items in Mire. Let's see how kind this dungeon is to both of them.
So we have Dude and Mire looking to find a bow. It could be in here. As I mentioned, I'm hoping for a book somewhere that leads to bow. That's basically the only troll the seed has left to offer at this point.
Maybe that mushroom holds something interesting too. There's the bowl and nachos, nothing interesting there. So the big key is in the first chest, so we can actually just head straight to the back room after we find these items to see what they are. I wouldn't say necessarily that this has been a huge troll scene. This has been kind of kind to him over the first hour. Dude coming back for the big chest and having to climb down to it again. Find the butter sword as one of the items in Mire, though.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the trolliness of the seed has been brought upon by the players themselves. For instance, they both did Agahnim when he wasn't technically required. But at the time, they only had Zora item left and Agnes Cave. And Zora happened to have the hammer, meaning they didn't need to do Agahnim, but both players did. And then we saw some stuff on Lewd's side, such as checking the front half of Swamp without the hookshot, forcing him to double dip, and the front of Turtle Rock without the fire rod, forcing him to double dip there as well.
That was so sad seeing Dude struggle and balk against that door without having the key to go in it. Finds both of the keys though, which means that unless it's in the wall room, we know the second item would be on Vitreous itself. This is a gamble on it right here.
He has a 50-50 shot, and I kind of agree with that he's in here. He's gonna head to the boss, hoping that Vitreous drops the second item here. If he doesn't, he's gonna have to go back in and check the other item. If he wants to, otherwise he can gamble on the bow not being the other item here.
Chat pointing out, yes, the butter sword does make silver's less of an advantage, you're right. Dude making pretty quick work of the mire basement. Lude also choosing to potentially save the wall room for last.
Dude using spin slashes on the eyes here, on the small eyes for Vitreous. With the gold sword, spin slashes don't do any additional damage, but it's very useful for pretty much only this boss, actually, with that additional coverage.
There's the small key on Vitreous, so yeah, wall room.
Yeah, that means there's one item remaining in Mire.
Jin says, I'm not interested, I'll find the bow elsewhere.
Yeah, logically it makes way more sense to gamble on Ganon's Tower. You're looking at close to 20 items in Ganon's Tower. Probably about like 15 if you take into account like small keys and dungeon items. Versus one chance at the bow in Mire. So by the numbers, this makes a lot of sense, and facing a single opponent, you're really looking for any edge you can find.
Speaking of numbers, chat is already way ahead of us. There is 22 item locations in Ganon's Tower. Go ahead and guess the number and you can win a wonderful prize. What is our prize today, Swerve?
I will personally give you a heart emoji.
Now that right there is a prize in itself.
Do you have a guess on the big key location?
So my guesses usually vary between 13 and 15, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with 15 today.
Sounds like a good guess. It's a safe bet. Yesterday I was a jerk and I said 22.
I think
So today I'm gonna balance things out. I believe in balance. I'm gonna go with 1.
Dude, gonna go ahead and grab the mushroom here. Probably not interested in turning it in at this point though.
Oh yeah, we still have this mushroom, the mysterious mushroom here. Very much a possibility that Lude will turn this in on his way back to Ganon's Tower. If that ends up being the bow, that would be amazing. But it looks like he's heading straight to Ganon's Tower.
I guess after the race we can poke the winner to go eat the mushroom and figure out what it is. Dude going right side first.
Alright, so it's not 1, and it's not 2.
Big money and no whammy stop. DT, the silvers were in Spy Cave.
Getting that small key, he's head straight to the right side. Kind of a common play you'll see from a lot of players if they get a small key first. It kind of minimizes risk in a way because you can check these 4 chests, and then most people will mirror out and do the left side. Or you can gamble on heading straight to Ice Armos from here.
So 3 through 6 looking to be nothing interesting here.
We got Dude heading to the left side, just as Lude is starting Ganon Sour. A small key on the torch for the 7th item.
Zertnal, that's vile. Don't say things like that. Chat calling for double dip turn Ganon Sour.
Item number 8 is another small key. 9 is a piece of heart. 10 is a single arrow. And 11 is the bow. There it is.
Oh boy.
So we are in bow mode.
Check out Loot in the tile room, though. That's a really risky and fun strat.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He must feel he's behind if he's making this play. You probably feel, which he's probably legitimately a little bit behind, but he probably feels he's further behind than he is. He did have that gamble into the front half of the swamp and the early Turtle Rock play without the Fire Rod. Both of which turned up to be nothing.
Shut down with just 50 rupees. The key is elsewhere.
So this... Oh, and he wasn't fast enough for this torch room. This could actually turn out to be interesting if Big Key is behind Ice Armos and you go straight for that. You will still need to grab that bow from the left side, though.
There's the big key. So counting that, not counting Lid's side, that was number 12? Or was it 11?
Which chest was it? Because it had been 2 on the right side, and then 3, 7, 8, 9. It would have been 10 to 13, depending on which order you opened it in. But either way, the big key in Rando Room is not advantageous for Lude.
Lude gonna go ahead and grab the bow out of the Stalfos room. Since everybody is equally confused about this, how about we all win? That's going to be a lot of heart emojis for you, Swerve.
I disagree. If you didn't have the correct number, you do not get a heart emoji.
The sadness is real.
Also, you have to personally message me a screenshot of your guess. Otherwise, standard entry rules and restrictions apply.
Time for the PM flood.
We have Dude closing out the last room of the gauntlet. Lude in the firebar room, grabbing his piece of heart. He's gonna find the big key here shortly. This is still a close race. Dude doesn't have the silver arrows, which is gonna give Lude a small advantage there. Probably like 40 to 60 seconds, depending on Dude's execution in Silverless Ganon.
And Lewd remembering that they actually have silvers.
So all in all, Dude is probably has a small lead. And it's kind of his race to lose at this point. But Lewd isn't completely out of the picture yet.
This is a big whopping load of execution at this point. Dude going ahead and dealing with the cross torture, no problem. Tyler and gambles have paid off in the past, though, chat. Dude taking advantage of the last big refill room, opening up the chest, hoping to find silvers, just finds an arrow upgrade instead.
That gold sword, Moldarm Pew goes down in 2 quick slashes. A compass in the final chest in Ganon's tower. So yeah, barring any huge disasters, this is Dude's race.
Dude making nice short work of the cat on a treadmill room without too much difficulty. Dude grabbing the double to finish up, though, at 147.35, so we are going to go ahead and head right on over to GT. And by GT, I mean a big whopping pyramid basement. So 148.01 into Ganon.
Yeah, we're looking at a pretty darn good clear time for Dude, considering some of the trolls that C-Dad. Meanwhile, Dude making his way through the second part of his Ganon's tower climb.
Dash strats with Butter Sword making an incredibly smooth fight.
Yep, quickly making his way into phase 3. 4 quick slashes at the end of each teleport will move him into phase 4. So assuming that he doesn't fall to phase 4 of Ganon here, this should be his victory.
So if Dude actually finishes this out, this will completely destroy the dreams of my group's winners being carried by the people that defeated them.
So those not aware, Dude is taking advantage of what is called the torch glitch in Link to the Past, where if you light that left torch in this Ganon fight before the right one goes out, the right one will stay permanently lit, which is super convenient, so you only have to worry about lighting one torch. And then, on top of that, there's a glitch that allows you to actually do damage to Ganon if you hit him just as he teleports. So typically you see this in kind of spin slashes because it has a wider frame window. But normal slashes work as well. It lets you actually do damage to Ganon just as he teleports.
So, Dude, with the excellent placement there, getting the triple spin cycle, actually finishes off Ganon and has that done with an official SRL time of 150.23. Congratulations. Moving on to the top 4. And we'll try to get Dude in for an interview as Lude finishes up on Agahnim 2. So it looks like the difference is around 3 minutes between the two, but Silvers will shorten that up just by a little bit.
Did I read that correctly in ISC? Did he really also do Aga?
He did.
Congratulations, and yeah, you both did it.
Congratulations,
God.
dude. I just sent the message in IRC, but a lot of this came down to, at least as a spectator, it looked like Lude was playing as if he was behind for the majority of the seed.
Oh my god, that's crazy. That's bloody crazy. I figured I was miles behind and that I had to just push the advantage out of the items I got out of pod as much as I could.
Yeah, that was actually kind of like a point of divergence. Both of you did Aga. You were actually a little bit behind on your Aga move. Lude he wasn't that far ahead. He was probably like 15 20 seconds ahead before he went to Aga. And then he went up to Catfish, mirrored over, and got the hammer from Zora. While you went to Pod, with the hammer at Zora, it seemed like that was the right move. But then you found so many things in Pod. Like there's the boots and the cane.
Boots, the cane, and the flutes. Don't forget the flutes.
Oh yeah, and the flute, and there was the cape there too. Like everything was in Pod. It was crazy.
Unbelievable. I was certain he'd have the 500 rupees to do Aga and just straight went there, and I was really hoping that he'd just make pod play really late because of it, because a lot of people, myself included, usually hate doing pod without having the bow. And well, you definitely weren't going to have the bow for pod this time around.
That was the interesting thing is you were both like you had I think 481 rupees. He was right around the same. Like you were both like 20 rupees short of Zora. So like you both of you went and checked the ledge item, saw the shield, and saved and quit. And then neither of you went back there until after doing Aga.
That's crazy.
So this has been completed with a second place finish time of 153.37, so about a 3.5 minute difference. Great race, everybody.
Unbelievable. It goes to show that our hive mind really is real if we even both make the same silly choice to do Aga instead of checking more of the light world just in case.
Well, I actually pointed this out that I felt like it made a lot of sense for both of you to go do Aga, because
yeah, no, the three locations we had left were really out of the way.
Yeah, the only locations you had left were Zora, which neither of you had money for when your first trip, and then Agahno's Cave, which is also an out-of-the-way location. So it made a lot of sense. It just was incorrect.
Hey, Lou, congratulations on finishing.
Thank you. Oh, God, I felt so bad when I did Agahnim and Hammer was at Zora, and I just felt like I was behind the entire time. As someone pointed out in the IRC afterwards, I was just making bad gambles after bad gambles, hoping that these decisions would get validated. I was sort of happy to find flute and boots in pod, sort of hoping that Dude was just going to go through the normal Dark World route at that point, since I had died like right outside of Skullwoods. But going into Swamp without Hookshot was a bad decision. Going to Turtle Rock without Fire Rod from Village of Outcasts was bad.
Oh, okay. that would explain one thing, because I definitely didn't go in there until after I had the fire rod and the ice rod and everything to actually beat it.
Yeah. I just
didn't-
was hoping for this to be a terrible seed at that point, because that was what I felt like to be the only hope that I had. I made a like the only gamble that sort of paid off was going into GT without Bo, without having checked Thieves Town at all, or the blacksmith, or the purple chest, or Agahnim, or witch.
Yeah, I did all. Well, I did all of those things except for the witch, basically.
Yeah, I
neither of
just
you checked
was
the-
banking on that Bo, but then I also did Tile Room too, as Zertinel pointed out. I was memeing at that point. I thought, God, if Bo was in Thieves Town, this race was done a long time ago. So,
Yeah, where did you pick up the silver arrows, by the way?
where were they? I already forgot.
They were in Spike
Some.
Cave.
Spike Cave, yeah.
I see.
I got it
yeah.
after Turtle Rock, maybe, or after I failed Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that makes sense. After I did Turtle Rock, I just immediately decided, oh, I've got the hook shot now. Let's not bother with the rest of Dark Dead Mountain. I'm probably behind. Let's go to Swamp Palace, and that turned out to be the correct choice. Because that gave me the stuff to do Mire, I think, and then after Mire, I could actually check Dark Dead Mountain on the way up to Gan's Tower.
Yeah,
I
it was
left one chest behind in Mire too.
Yep,
It was
me too.
actually a very close race for the majority of it. And I didn't mean any offense, by the way, Lude, when I said the biggest mistake was playing like you're behind, but it really
of
seems like
course,
it came down to a few of the decisions you made, such as you pointed out, the hook shot list, Swamp Palace, the fire rod list, like Turtle Rock, and then that tile room play. Like, a lot of that felt like it came from a mindset of you felt like you were much further behind than you actually were.
Oh well. I mean, in fairness, like, if this is a race to lose, it would be this one, because it's sort of like the greatest hits of my tournament to this point. Doing Swamp without Hookshot in one race got me Mitts and Kane, which got me other things that led to Hookshot. And then another race, Turtle Rock had the answers. Like the Ice Rod was in Laser Hallway, and like the Flute was in there as well, which lets you do Mire, and there was a lot of other things you could have done before that point. But it was like my first time up to Death Mountain, and I actually found the Cane and the Turtle Rock Medallion and the Mitts, and that gamble paid off for me in that race. But this race, it just didn't pay off, and as you said, like, it was like I was playing like I was behind, but I had no idea like that I was actually behind.
I mean, I felt like I was behind, but I only wanted to take minimal gambles. Like, I just wanted to bank on what I could complete and what I could get out of the items I got out of Palace of Darkness.
And knowing like that the first two races against Dude, we were like doing literally the same thing for 45 minutes. I figured he was going to go into Hyrule Castle right after Kakariko, so I went down to the dam and Moldorm Cave and stuff, and I was hoping to get enough rupees for Zora along the way, and I got very close. I was at like 470, and then I didn't have the rupees, and then I did Hyrule Castle. I don't know that there were even rupees there, but at least I had the glove. Actually, no, I did East Palace next, and that got me the glove, which let me do the back of Hyrule Castle. I'm not sure if you did any of that in that order, Dude, but
I mean, I didn't see your guys' first race, but compared to yesterday, like I said, you guys pretty much did the same thing for the first 40 minutes or so. This is fun to watch because you guys didn't do the same thing.
Yeah, I actually
from the outset.
It's actually funny. I wanted to do the same opener starting from Sanctuary, but I accidentally selected Link's House and decided, what the hey, let's just go in this.
Yeah, you started in Link's House, and then you found that sword, and you're like, well, I might as well do Hyrule Castle, because I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, chat with a question. Lude, why did you go to Palace of Darkness when you did?
because I died right outside of Skull Woods and it put me on the pyramid, and I said, okay, well, here's a gamble. Let's go into Pod, because if you're going to do the normal Dark World route, you're going to have Pod at the very end. So I'm going to go in there and hopefully get everything like Fire Rod and Cane and Mitts and other things, and it did give me some things. But it was sort of like it wasn't like an intentional death to warp to the pyramid. It was accidental, but I just went with it.
Yeah, you're basically like, well, I'm here. Let's new plan. Let's head over here.
Yeah,
And
that's
it worked out in a very good way.
It definitely works out because doing Palace of Darkness early in this seat was very advantageous with all the movement options it gave you.
I was hoping that Bonk Rocks had items and they didn't. And I mean, actually, no. I guess Desert was boot locked, but I guess at the time you would get to Desert, you would have gotten to Pod at some point.
Yeah, I never found the book, so the only way to get in there is what's the flute?
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, you know, you and I who were like doing literally the same thing for 45 minutes. I'm glad that if I have to lose to someone, it's you, because then I can watch your next match and think that this is how I would do. And now if you lose the next match, it's like, all right, well, I wasn't going to win this tournament anyway.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so you,
Oh, God.
dude, are going to be facing off against Zay and
Yeah, that's going to be a fun match
semifinals.
because from everything I've garnered so far, he's really rather good. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the tournament, you know,
Never mind,
your
that's not my
opponents are
movie
going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that already. I mean, these matches already prove it. This was actually the first. This is actually the first of the bracket stages in which I actually had a loss, as opposed to only wins. So that's already says enough, really.
Also, you mirrored my previous match, which was I lost the first one and won the next two. So,
Yeah,
like I said, greatest hits. Everything here is like the story of my tournament to this point. Also, congrats on being auto-qualified for the spring main tournament.
yeah,
Pretty great
that's
prize,
interesting.
too.
I'm pretty happy with that actually, especially since I shot myself in the foot with actually joining the main tournament this time anyway, because I made the mistake of joining more than one qualifier race. Because I would have qualified for the main tournament if I'd only stuck with that one race, which is kind of funny.
I made the mistake of doing terribly in my first qualifier, and I never could recover at that point. So
Yeah.
But oh well, I made it this far. I'm happy. I hope that everyone here enjoyed the race that you saw. Hope that no one who was rooting for me is now feeling super depressed, because I'm not. I enjoyed my time, and I'm happy that I made it this far, and I'm happy that I lost to DududeDude.
Yeah.
I told him before this race that if I lose, I am going to change my Twitch username to DududeDolphin.
Yeah, much like I said, I was going to change mine to LewdDolphin.
I'm not actually going to do that. I like LewdDolphin too.
No, I figured as much.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
I can tell you a secret here. I wasn't going to do it either.
Well,
So one more question from chat. Where were you guys thinking the bow wasn't going to be if it wasn't in Ganon's Tower?
I was thinking it was in Thieves Town.
I figured it was Pyramid Ferry.
I checked Pyramid Ferry. It had 50 rupees and an arrow upgrade, I believe.
Yeah, I
It's
did
actually
clear
about
out.
it.
Yeah, I cleared out the entirety of Thieves Town, so I didn't have any. I knew there was nothing there.
Yeah, my hope as a jerk and a commentator was that you're going to find the book in Ganon's Tower, and that was going to lead to the bow on Bombos.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't be. That's actually really close to one of my earlier tournament matches where I actually double dipped Ganon's Tower. The book wasn't in Ganon's Tower, mind you. It was in Mimic Cave, but I needed to get the hookshot off the Bombos tablet and after clearing out the entirety of Ganon's Tower. So, you know, that was interesting.
Is there any more either of you want to say to your fans out there?
I have fans.
54. No one
Nah.
gets the reference.
What?
I know the reference, kind of, maybe, because I heard somebody else talk about it at one point. It's some Final Fantasy 13 thing.
Yeah. It's a joke from like 2 years ago, based like on my reaction to something from Final Fantasy 13, and we just have rolled with it for 2 years because that's how we roll. We don't ever
No, nobody
we
ever
don't
lets a
ever
joke
get
go.
better jokes. We just keep saying old ones, even if we don't understand them.
Yeah, exactly. And
Stick to the classics.
happily we actually got match 54 here on challenge, so that worked out marvelously.
Oh
didn't it?
yeah, if I have to lose in any match, it has to be in bracket 54. So I will forever live here in bracket 54. The ghost of Lude lives on in bracket 54.
Good games. Very good games.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed commentating them. So, like I said, you both. It was a very close race, only a few minutes apart there at the end. So you both put up a good showing.
If only I hadn't gone
To
on
both of
each
you.
side at all, I probably would have made it even closer than it was. Oh well.
Maybe. All depends on
And-
whether you would have gone to Palace of Darkness so early, I think.
I meant like in Ganon's Tower, doing the right side of Ganon's Tower first, stalling the tile room, and then getting the 4 chests that had literally nothing.
Yeah. You did have the advantage in actually having silvers, so.
It's definitely been an honor and a pleasure doing this series with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for commentating.
Yeah, thank you for commentating twice, I might add.
Yeah, twice in a row. We have like the same format both times.
Does it like to give a quick
tracker, I think. But
yeah, I'd like to give a quick shout out to your tracker though. He's a good guy. I've done a bunch of Zelda 1 randomizer stuff with him. You should definitely give him a follow if you want to.
So while we're on that note, if you liked what you saw today, folks, definitely give both of them a follow. Even if Lude isn't advancing, there's still lots more in store for you guys.
Yeah, on that
Now,
note,
I
I
also
should
want to
actually
give a shout out to Dark Falls and Zertinol for restreaming. You both did very well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for restreaming and tracking. Thank you to the runners. Yeah, make sure to give everyone involved a follow. A lot of effort goes into kind of running these behind the scenes.
I know enough about that, yeah.
So we're gonna keep the stream going while we find the book.
No, we're not going to do that this time.
That doesn't do anything for us.
No, we actually know where we know what the entire progression was, and the mushroom was we saw in the credits was a health upgrade.
Someone wants to turn the mushroom in. I will turn it in. Here we go.
Okay, this time
This takes all of 2 seconds.
This time I get to watch you run around doing stuff.
For the chat wondering, I believe there's a match later on tonight around midnight Eastern. Other than that, just the dailies on speed gaming and everything.
Yeah, there's the Key Sanity entrance randomizer on one of the speed gaming channels in about 30 minutes. Which should be a fun watch.
Piece of heart. I probably shouldn't call it out because there's going to be a massive delay between when I say it and when someone sees it. It was actually the bow.
That was totally the book.
What were the locations you hadn't checked in the overworld before going into GT?
The Witch, the Pyramid Ferry, and Spike Cave.
Okay, so it has to be in GT then. Because
And the Magic Bat. I never checked the Magic Bat.
Oh, alright, I'll check Magic Bat.
Alright, so after we find out with the Magic Bat here, we're gonna go ahead and shut on for the day. It's been really beautiful again for playing with both of you. Swerve, go ahead and take us out right after this, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it was lovely commentating with you again. Thank you again to the racers for allowing us to restream. Thank you to Zertanol for restreaming.
Bombos.
Thank you to Dark Falls for tracking. Please make sure to give the restreamer the tracker and the runners a follow. I just popped it out there in chat. Best of luck to you in the semifinals, dude.
Yeah, GG. Dude.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Sunday.
I certainly
Peace.
upset too. Peace.
Peace.
And also buttons.